We gotta thank you. Have a look. Aw, well, these things happen. A new assignment, huh? See you later. next time. New quests keep rolling in. Until next time. New quests keep rolling in. Until next time. nice to be famous and get good. Are you done?
The Lady Crotakild is already heading this way. People of Austrasia, come with me to free Pharamond from the grasp of the hated order.
Now is a time for you to rise up, people of Austrasia. Let us go forth and welcome the Lady Crotakild.
The Order is a bunch of liars. They don't know nothing about the future.
Throw those guys out! Only Lady Crotakild has the title to govern Austrasia.
I have a report. The company is already drawing near Pharamond. There is also a revolt emerging in the old Austrasian territory. This castle is completely surrounded.
Well, shouldn't you be out engaging them or putting all your effort into protecting this castle? Why will the ignorant people of Austrasia not accept the ideals and wisdom of the Order?
The former First Princess of Austrasia has joined forces with the company. We believe she is acting as a sort of rallying point for the insurrectionist forces.
My sister. So I have... My sister is...
Lady Predicant! Keep your mind focused! You all know that there's no point in becoming lost now! The one true way says that the Order will win, ushering in a world of perfect discipline and peace! When that time comes, your sister will know that she is the one at fault.
You're right. I wield Divine Edge. I will not be defeated by my sister. I will not be defeated!
Very good! With the advent of the One King, the one true way will come to fruition! It is the Lady Crotakild!
People of Austrasia, the Princess Crotakild has returned!
Brave people of Austrasia! Long have you endured this awful time of tribulation. Hear me! Today that time is at an end, I swear it to you! We shall expel the inhuman invaders of the Order of the One True Way! Our Austrasia will rise again!
Wow, I'd say she's pretty popular here.
Of course she is. This is their Lady Crotakild after all.
We made it back! We finally made it back!
That we have indeed.
I never imagined the day would come when I would make my return to Fairmont. Lord! Guntram, I have you to thank for this. You have my sincere gratitude.
Oh, it was nothing, milady. It's still a little early for thanks.
I know that, but it needed to be said.
Princess, it seems the Order's troops have confined themselves inside the royal castle.
And I suppose Fredegund is in there as well.
Tell the townsfolk not to do anything stupid. We'll handle the fighting from here on out.
I am in full agreement.
Lay off the master stuff.
All right, let's commence our assault of the castle. Get out there to harass and divert the enemy. Lady Cortakild will go with the Lord to rescue Lady Fredegund.
Look after the princess. Will do.
Just like old times. I remember well how often the two of us would face off in training.
As do I. It was always you, my sister. Always you who won every match. But today, things will be different. I now wield Divine Edge! How did you... What? How is this... Divine Edge? This can't be!
Could it be? Is it true that Divine Edge is one of a matched pair? Is this like the beads of the priestess, or the wraith soul? Now we are fighting under the same terms. Shall we continue?
That's exactly what I want!
On guard.
What is this? Why am I not winning? Though I wield Divine Edge, I am no match for my sister. Why is this happening?
I believe you have already answered that yourself. Your sister, your pride and joy.
What?
I wanted to live up to our parents' expectations. Show them I could live up to my title. But more than anything, I wanted to be a sister you could be proud of. I wanted to give you purpose. And that is why I made the utmost in my efforts as I trained.
Sister!
You progressed with a striking enthusiasm, and I had to make an incredible effort to surpass you. But I did not think of it as a hardship. You were always smiling, calling me your pride and joy. Would you call that something that was predetermined? That I desired to be someone you could be proud of. Even that we share the bonds of sisterly love. Everything was predetermined when this world began. So we have no other choice but to accept what just happened as such. I will not accept that. I will never accept such a fallacy. How about you? Answer me! Fredegard!
No, it's not true, not true! I am.
That way? Lady Fredigan!
I'm so sorry, sister. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Fredegund. I'm sorry too. I wasn't able to come for you before now.
Oh, sister. Sis... My sister...
Well, ain't that nice? You worthless! Hey! Stop right there! Let him run.
We did it! The blasted order is fleeing!
Lady Crowkild and the company finally did it!
Isn't it wonderful? Now we don't have to listen to the Order's nonsense anymore. We can finally call ourselves the people of Austrasia again. Lord, Lou, on behalf of all the people of Austrasia, I thank you. You have the gratitude of a nation.
And you have my gratitude as well. I thought I said there was no need to thank me.
Predegund, don't you have something to say as well?
Yes, sister. Please forgive me for all I have done, and thank you as well.
Oh, don't mention it, but, it's kind of like you've become a different person now.
That I could become a different person? But that cannot be. By my weakness, I betrayed my people. I raised a blade to my sister, and I brought misfortune on many. None other than I must atone for these crimes, for they are mine.
That may be so, but you are not alone here. Did I not say that?
Sister,
You cannot go about with such a sad face forever. The people of Austrasia, as well as our mother and father, will be watching our actions from now on. I believe you know what it is you should do now.
I do, sister.
Well, then there is your reason to smile.
Oh, ain't this nice? Look at the two of you.
It truly is indeed. It has been entirely too long since I have seen the harmonious sight of the two of them together. Oh, there are tears in my eyes from this welling up of emotion.
Guntram, I think you and Nimni might really...
Oh?
Well then, Lord, I will get right to it. I want you to touch this sword.
You... Oh, so... This is...
He has come at last. The one king. Mark my words. I swear by my blade I will never give up. I will put an end to you.
What? So, this was one of them too?
I was as surprised as you. I had no idea that my own blade was a fragment of divine edge and was also a chronicle.
This is my first such experience as well, so I too do not know what to think of all this.
You saw the stuff too?
Pardon my presumption, but yes.
This vision said something about the One King as well.
And that is not all. Fredegund has heard that name from the people in the Order.
She heard what?
The man the Order sent to keep an eye on me, Beardsley, he said it. He said that with the advent of the One King, the one true way will come to fruition.
The One King in this world too? I somehow don't think this is a coincidence. What's going on?
All I know is that he was Cougar's enemy.
And that he was such a fearsome enemy, even King Dolph and the others could not approach him. And I doubt that he will be happy that we have liberated Austrasia.
As for me, I had only now heard this story, so I cannot fully grasp the entire picture. This may not be the proper time for celebration. I believe we have a more pressing issue at hand.
What are you talking about?
If you go north several days from Faramond, you will find Fort Ark, a large Order stronghold.
Oh yeah, that big old fortress.
I do not think the Order will remain as quiet as they are now. It is likely only a matter of time before the troops in Fort Ark make their way here.
I guess you're right. What's the plan? That's probably the best thing, but if we're gonna stand up to Fort Ark's might, we have to bring all of the company here.
Okay, let's do it.
Excuse...
Seriously?
If we don't, we can't mount a proper defense. Seems to me like we ain't got any other choice.
That certainly would. It would be reassuring to have your company defending Austrasia. Would you really do this?
Look, we just made all this effort to kick him out. We can't let him come back and take over again. Of course, with all my troops staying here, we might get in your way.
I assure you, you will most certainly not be in anyone's way.
Well, I don't think the troops would be here long enough to cause trouble. If the Order comes, they'll probably come all at once with a battalion. We're gonna have to whip them good and send them packing, so they won't think of coming around here again.
Alright then. Hope we don't mind if we take advantage of your hospitality for a while.
I do not. I would be grateful for the favor.
Thank you very much. I too would do anything to protect Austrasia. So thank you. Thank you for lending us your strength so we can protect our nation.
Well, if it is decided, then I shall make the preparations to welcome your company.
Alright, Lou. We're going back to the castle to get ready to move the troops.
Sounds good.
I see. So Princess Fredegund has...
Yes.
Under the Order's guidance, she had forgotten her parents' death, and finally found peace in her heart. How cruel these others are, to pull her back into a world filled with suffering and sadness.
And now it seems that the Chronicle of the Twin Blades has passed into the hand of their company.
Forget about that. While I cannot say that we do not need it, it is not entirely regrettable. More important are the 8th and 9th Chronicles.
I understand that. We may have to use the young lady again.
The librarians are under your command. I do not need to concern myself with them.
Thank you.
The 10th world is drawing near, and will soon be before our eyes. 3 more. If we can overcome them, the one true way will be fulfilled. See to it that we have the time.
Leave that to me.
We gotta thank you. Have a look. This the one you want? You've made up your mind, right? Who can I send? You've made up your mind, right? I gotcha. Want to see some other jobs? Let's see. Let's see. Who can I send? Who can I send? Let's see. I gotcha. Want to see some other jobs? Way to go! Here's your reward. A new assignment, huh? Let's see. Who can I send? Who can I send? I gotcha. Want to see some other... See you later.
What are you doing here?
Well now, it's been a while. Do forgive the intrusion.
You were in the library at the Tower of Guidance.
I don't believe I've introduced myself then. I'm the head archivist Deirdre. The pleasure's all mine.
Head archivist?
Actually, I have one regret about the first time we met. I should have somehow seized the Chronicle when I had the chance. I had no idea that you children were so resourceful after all.
And I had no idea that you were all such a worthless bunch of jerks. I don't take kindly to people breaking into my house. How did you get in here?
Well, as for that... From here.
What?
A gateway?
How'd they do that?
No way! You mean they can open up one of those gateways wherever they want?
Well, it has to be in a place that I've seen with my own eyes. You know, of course, that this castle used to be the Order's. I've been here before. Thank you for helping us out by bringing the Chronicles here.
We...
Damn it!
Are the bandits in here? What is this? Why are you scum here?
Keep your guard up. These guys are archivists from the Order.
And all of the Chronicles are here for the taking.
And I believe we shall do exactly that. Don't think too poorly of us, okay? This is surprising. You're really hanging in there.
I only have to get the 9th chronicle for my father.
Yes, the 8th chronicle is so close. But if we are not to obtain it, we shall wipe it from existence.
What?
What is she doing?
Goodbye.
You see, the scribes are a tribe sworn to protect the secrets of the Chronicles. I don't know how, but they've known a lot about the Chronicles for ages. They pass it down each generation.
Wow.
At age 12, a scribe is considered a full adult, and they are taught about the Chronicles. They're given their tattoos at that time as well. But I, ran away before that.
Why did you run away?
I told you that the scribes are sworn to protect the secrets of the Chronicles, right? They seclude themselves in this forest so their knowledge can't spread and be used for evil. I didn't like that seclusion, and I didn't like those around me who thought it was a good idea either. I wanted to see what was outside of the forest.
I see. Once you are given the tattoos, it makes it difficult to intermingle with the outside world. Even if they do not know of the scribes, few would not view such tattoos as an oddity. So you took flight before that could happen.
That's pretty much it. I wandered around aimlessly until I was taken in by Elder Regime, and then I met his group. And I thought, wow, it sure would be nice to live here. You remember, don't you, when we found that very first chronicle?
You had touched the book and saw the same vision as us, but you acted like you didn't.
That's right. I had managed to get away from the scribes, and I didn't want to have anything to do with the chronicles.
Oh, so that's why.
And despite that, I was back up to my neck in all this chronicle business before I knew it. And every time we started talking about the chronicles, I thought about telling you everything. I am a scribe, a protector of the secrets of the chronicles, but I don't know anything about them. I left home before I could learn. Sorry. How could I say that? I'd look so stupid, so I just kept quiet.
Oh, really? I don't think I would have noticed you acting any dumber than usual.
Yeah, you're one to talk. But sometimes I thought that maybe I shouldn't have run away. That I should have studied here instead. Maybe then I would have been more help to you.
There you go again, being dumb. If you'd done that, we might not ever have met.
Huh?
Perhaps you can gain your knowledge of the chronicles starting now. At any rate, it was far better for us to have met you in Citro Village.
Come on, cut it out. You're embarrassing me. But I guess you're right. It was totally random chance. But guess we may as well pump the Venerable One for all the information she has.
Assembled archivists, I thank you all for coming. Your hard work is to be commended. In particular, your recovery of the 9th Chronicle, the Chronicle of the Furious Roar, deserves praise. With it, we will surely be able to usher in the 10th world in the manner the One King wills.
And yet in its place, the 8th Chronicle has been lost for eternity.
Well, I wonder if it has.
Excuse me?
Ah, never mind. Though we have lost the 8th Chronicle, all should be well if we secure the 10th. When that time comes, I will call upon you once again, Sophia.
Of course, Father.
And there's one more thing. It appears we may uncover the missing chronicle.
Really?
I have a feeling we will, because of the significant power that was used on our behalf. I wonder what has happened. Until now, this has remained hidden, not even daring to draw breath. And furthermore, this energy was something related to the Ravine of Infinity.
The ravine?
It is as if this something is telling you to find it, is it not?
I see. I believe I can use my powers to trace any vestiges that may remain.
Excellent. I leave it to you. If we can get our hands on it, we will, in effect, have a chronicle to spare.
This is the Venerable One, Elder Scribe, Honored Lao Quan.
You're the one who helped us out, Grandma? Thanks, I guess. Say, you don't look too good. Are you okay?
There are 2 reasons I brought you out to the ravine.
She doesn't seem to be listening. Grandma, are you hard of hearing?
Be quiet. Listen to what she has to say.
Sorry.
The first is that you bear with you a chronicle. As the eldest of the scribes, I cannot sit idly by as a chronicle is lost from this world. The second reason is that I must convey the meaning of the chronicles to you star-bearers.
Of the Chronicles?
But as you have already somehow managed to include a scribe among your ranks,
Yeah, somehow. Yeah, we know a little about the Chronicles, but it's not because I'm a scribe.
Lu Shen,
a chronicle is a massive repository of the entire knowledge of a world. It is the very memory of that world.
I think maybe she is a little hard of hearing after all.
Ah, so do you not wonder at this? Have you yourselves already unlocked these riddles? If so, then these you have brought with you from another world.
Well, we were kind of wondering about that, too. Like, if there's a bunch of fake books, then that would mean that there's a real book out there somewhere.
A real book? You cannot mean...
You mean the Chronicle for this world?
I do. The Order. Its Chancellor Valfred has acquired this world's chronicle, the true chronicle. For that reason, they refer to all others as false chronicles.
The true Chronicle?
everything in this world. So the advanced knowledge the Order has of disasters...
They are reading the future that is written in the true chronicle.
They're doing what?
But that ain't true, Grandma. If it were, then we'd win every battle, hands down. And we've already beaten them a whole bunch of times.
Think back on what has happened. The Order's prophecies have all been natural disasters. In other words, events that occur without regard to human actions.
Oh, so you're saying...
Though they use the true chronicle, they cannot read a future that is shaped by free will. It may be that matters of the will, too, are recorded in the true chronicle, but cannot be read. Or perhaps such things are not written in the true chronicle at all.
That sort of thing can't be written in, can it?
However, it is at least true that natural disasters can be foretold with the True Chronicle.
Not only natural disasters, how parts of other worlds overlap and appear in this world. That is also written in the chronicle.
What?
So you mean the sudden appearance of Lysaria Forest or Marcina Plain?
Indeed. And their inhabitants will forget, coming to think it has always been so. Such it is written in the true chronicle.
So what do you mean?
I mean that everything in this world is written in the true chronicle.
Huh?
So all memories will change in accordance with reality as defined in the True Chronicle.
So we're the only ones whose memories haven't changed?
You Starbearers are able to make contact with the chronicles from other worlds. Therefore, you are not entirely controlled by the accounts in the true chronicle.
So, that's why.
This is an unbelievable story, but it goes a long way in explaining my suspicions thus far.
But there's something weird about all this. Can't put my finger on it, but I'm not satisfied.
Venerable One.
Whoa, hey, what are you being all jumpy for?
I believe they have come.
Huh?
I have a bad feeling, something outside.
What?
What are you... Ah, it all makes sense now. The Elder Scribe used that power to draw the lot of you here. Excellent. I can get my hands on both the Eighth Chronicle and the Scribe's Chronicle at the same time.
The Scribe's Chronicle? There's one here too?
So that is what they seek.
I've asked you this before and I'm asking again. What do you want with these books?
It appears the Elder Scribe has told you quite a bit. Well, perhaps I have something to add. The reason we seek these false chronicles...
What are you saying?
This phenomenon of parts of other worlds appearing in this one has been going on for more than 100 years. The recent event with the Marcina Plains was the 9th time such a thing has happened.
That many?
Porpoise Kin or the Wanderers, the Magedom of Janam or Astrasia, they don't normally exist here. I tell you all, these phenomena all came from other worlds, along with their false chronicles.
Of course, I thought as much when I learned that Divine Edge was a chronicle.
So just what do you think happens to the lands displaced when the other world intrudes in?
No way. They can't just disappear, can they? Like the Chiolui Mountains?
They do indeed. It was only happenstance that no one lived in the Chiolui Mountains, but... if it had been a town or a village, all of the people living there would have vanished as well.
What?
Actually, something like that has happened several times in the past 9 events. And that's why we need the false chronicles. To avoid such tragedies.
But why? What do you mean by that?
The true chronicle indicates when the fusion of the worlds will take place, but not where. But if we use the powers concealed in the false chronicles, we can determine where the fusion will be.
What?
We can intervene in the accounts of the true chronicle, make the fusion occur far from the settled areas. The Order has been trying to do that up until now, protecting people who are unaware of the danger.
You have? Really?
However, each intervention in the true chronicle uses up one of the false chronicles. We act to be prepared for future fusions, and so we can continue to protect people.
This can't be!
How can I be any clearer? Hear me. Hand over your false chronicles now.
It sounds to me like what you're saying just doesn't add up.
In what way?
If it were true, then why'd you need to use a whole army to spread that nonsense about a set future? And another thing. Something I was thinking about when listening to Grandma talk just now. Who's this one king guy? He's got something to do with you guys, don't he?
Ah, and here we are again.
What are you doing?
It would have been easier if you had let me keep you in the dark. But you had to push, so it comes to this. This is so unfortunate. I really do have a soft spot for children such as the lot of you.
Hey now! I think that you're just trying to hide the inconvenient facts, ain't you? That all you got? If it is, then you'd best get to telling us everything you know.
My, you are persistent. Perhaps I have more to offer.
Not again!
Keep your guard up.
Keep your guard up, she says. How are we supposed to do that?
What happened?
Why did... Ah! This can't be happening. No, no!
What's going on?
Venerable One.
I see. This is the power of the scribe's false chronicle. This is not over.
No! She got away. What's going on with her?
Don't ask me.
Ah!
Glenn!
Owner Laoquan, wake up, please. Come back to your senses.
Something's wrong with the Venerable One?
Lord, let's get back inside.
Yeah.
Honored Lao Quan, Venerable One.
Grandma! Hey, Grandma, wake up!
What's happened to her?
Why has she fallen ill so suddenly?
When that woman was opening up the gateways earlier, the Venerable One used her power to close them.
She what?
Honored Lao Quan had used her power yesterday. She didn't have enough time to recover.
Yesterday, when she pulled all of us out of the ravine.
You mean she has saved us once again?
Grandma, come back to us. Can you hear me? Open your eyes.
I hear you.
Elder!
I must be quick if I am to finish my story.
Don't worry about that. Try to rest.
Silence. Listen to me. It is as I said before. The Chronicles, by nature, are the records of their world. I mean to say, the current true Chronicle has deviated from its true state.
What?
And the one who has caused
The One King?
Liu Shen, you must know the true form of the One King and his purpose,
Why are you telling me this?
or you are...
Honored Lao Quan.
Whoa!
Lou!
What's going on here?
Her tattoos! They're on Lou now!
The Chronicle has been passed on.
Passed on?
Those, that very pattern of lines, is the Chronicle we scribes are sworn to protect.
And they are the markings of the Elder Scribe.
What?
Liu Shen, from this day, you are the Elder.
What are you saying? Me? This has to be a joke.
You, from the moment you left us, I knew that you, and you alone, would be our next Venerable One. The rest is in your hands.
Honored Lao Quan.
Grandma!
Elder,
Oh, old woman. Why? Why me?
Lou!
Funny, ain't it? That I'm the Elder Scribe, and now I've even got these. I hated the tattoos. That's why I ran away. And now I'm covered in them. That old woman. Just what was she thinking? Stick out your hand.
What, all of a sudden? You want to shake hands or something?
No, I don't want to shake your hand. This pattern is a chronicle, so I want you to touch it.
Oh, okay. Ready?
Yep.
What is this? These tattoos tell a story. They speak of the One King, the final king who defines all things, and of the Star Bearers, those who dance in heaven and earth and who will not be defined.
I see now. The One King and the Starbearers.
What are we gonna do now?
What are we gonna do?
Well, we know a lot more now. About the natural disasters, and about the other world that's coming. And that the Order's gathering chronicles to try and stop the fusion from happening in some city. Should we really be fighting them?
All this stuff about the One King and everything? There's just too much stuff we don't know. But one thing's for sure. What the Order's doing just don't make any sense. At the very least, we can't...
I guess you were right. That's what I thought you would say.
What about you? What are you gonna do? Now that you're the venerable one and all.
Well, if you think about it, I suppose the Elder has to stay here. What do you think I should do?
Ain't got no idea. That's your decision.
Whew, that's cold.
But what I'd like is for you to keep on with us in our company.
You know, you really have a way of putting people in a bind.
Huh? How?
Forget it. Okay. I'm coming back with you to the castle, and I'm gonna fight the Order.
You sure?
Yeah. That'll... If she'd wanted a normal Elder...
Yeah, maybe she would've.
Test report waiting. Let's see. You've made up your mind, right? Oh, you really want to quit? Let's see. Way to go! Here's a reward. Wow, you're the best. Here's a reward. Oh, no. Aw, well, these things happen. A new assignment, huh? Until next time.